A chill wind whipped across the astronomy tower, but it was the tension, not the temperature, that made the air crackle. Draco Malfoy, his face a mask of pale terror, stood with his wand extended, not at Harry Potter, who was immobilized by a full-body bind curse, but at Albus Dumbledore. The headmaster, however, showed no signs of the curse that had been slowly killing him. His hand, unblackened and whole, rested calmly at his side. He had resisted the temptation of the Resurrection Stone, recognizing the gaunt ring for what it truly was, a Horcrux and a trap. "Draco," Dumbledore's voice was gentle, yet it carried over the howling wind. "You are not a killer." Malfoy's hand trembled, his eyes darting from Dumbledore to the shadows where his fellow Death Eaters were meant to emerge. "I have to do this. He'll kill me. He'll kill my family." "No," Dumbledore said, his tone unwavering. "He will not. We can protect you, all of you." Before Draco could process the offer, the doors to the tower burst open, but it was not the Death Eaters who stormed in. It was Severus Snape, his face an unreadable mask, followed by members of the Order of the Phoenix. Snape, not bound by an unbreakable vow to kill Dumbledore, had been free to act according to their true plan. He had alerted the Order the moment he knew Draco was to make his move. The arriving Death Eaters were met not with a defenseless headmaster, but with a prepared force. The battle was brief and decisive. The Malfoys, including a stunned Draco, were taken into protective custody by the Order. Lucius and Narcissa, faced with the reality of Voldemort's wrath for their son's failure, and offered a chance at a life free from his tyranny, chose to cooperate. They provided invaluable intelligence about the Death Eaters' operations and Voldemort's state of mind. With the immediate threat to Hogwarts neutralized, Dumbledore turned his full attention to the Horcruxes. The hunt was no longer a desperate flight for three teenagers. It became a calculated campaign led by the most powerful wizard of his age. Dumbledore, with the information from a repentant Regulus Black's note, which he now had the time and resources to properly investigate, and the memories of a now more willing Horace Slughorn, began to piece together the puzzle of Voldemort's immortality. The locket, which had caused the trio so much grief, was retrieved from Dolores Umbridge with a masterful stroke of cunning and magical finesse. Dumbledore, accompanied by Harry, confronted her in the Ministry of Magic, which had not yet fallen to Voldemort's control. Umbridge, in her arrogance, believed herself untouchable, but Dumbledore's presence, backed by the authority of the Wisengamot, which he still commanded significant influence over, saw her swiftly and legally stripped of her position and the locket confiscated. Hufflepuff's cup, hidden deep within the Lestrange vault at Gringotts, presented a greater challenge, but with the Malfoys' inside knowledge of the bank's security and Bellatrix's paranoia, Dumbledore devised a plan that relied on misdirection and illusion rather than a frontal assault. While a team from the Order created a diversion, Dumbledore and Harry, under the cloak of invisibility, slipped into the vault, retrieved the cup, and replaced it with a magically duplicated fake. Ravenclaw's diadem was a more personal quest for Dumbledore. He had long suspected a powerful dark object resided within Hogwarts. Now, with a focused mind, he delved into the castle's deepest secrets, speaking with the Grey Lady, the ghost of Helena Ravenclaw. Moved by Dumbledore's wisdom and his genuine desire to heal the scars of the past, she revealed the diadem's hiding place in the Room of Requirement. Throughout this time, Harry was not a passive observer. He was Dumbledore's apprentice in the art of defeating a Dark Lord. They dissected Voldemort's psychology, his fears, his arrogance. Dumbledore explained the prophecy in its entirety, not as a death sentence for Harry, but as a choice. A choice to face Voldemort, not because he had to, but because he was the one with the power to do so. The final piece of the puzzle was Nagini, Voldemort's serpentine companion and his most closely guarded Horcrux. Dumbledore knew that to get to Nagini, they would have to draw Voldemort out. With most of his Horcruxes destroyed, Voldemort was becoming increasingly erratic and paranoid. The news of the Malfoys' defection had sent him into a fury, but Dumbledore's continued existence kept him at bay, unwilling to risk a direct confrontation. The final confrontation was not a desperate battle for a besieged school, but a calculated strike. Dumbledore, using the information gathered from the Malfoys, orchestrated a leak of false intelligence, suggesting that Harry was being moved to a secure location. It was a bait Voldemort, obsessed with the prophecy, could not resist. As Voldemort and his inner circle of Death Eaters ambushed the supposed transport, they were met not by a vulnerable teenager, but by Dumbledore and the full force of the Order of the Phoenix. The battle that ensued was a symphony of powerful magic. Dumbledore and Voldemort clashed in a duel that shook the very foundations of the earth, a maelstrom of light and shadow. While the two titans of magic fought, Harry's role became clear. He was not to fight Voldemort directly, not yet. His target was Nagini. With Ron and Hermione at his side, they battled through the remaining Death Eaters, a testament to their own formidable skills honed under Dumbledore's tutelage. As Dumbledore held Voldemort's attention, Harry faced the Great Serpent. With the Sword of Gryffindor, which Dumbledore had ensured he had access to, Harry struck, destroying the final Horcrux. At that moment, a change came over Voldemort, a flicker of fear, of mortality, in his red eyes. He was no longer immortal. Dumbledore, seeing the change, pressed his advantage. But Dumbledore knew the prophecy still held weight. "Harry," he called out, his voice ringing with power. "It is time." Harry stepped forward, his heart pounding, but his resolve firm. He understood what needed to be done. He was the final unintended Horcrux. Voldemort, seeing Harry, turned his wand, a snarl of triumph on his lipless face. Avada Kedavra. The green light shot from Voldemort's wand, but as it struck Harry, it did not kill him. Dumbledore had explained the ancient magic at play, Lily's sacrifice, the twin cores of their wands, and now, a final, intricate piece of spellcasting Dumbledore had prepared. The curse destroyed the piece of Voldemort's soul within Harry, but left Harry himself unharmed, sent to a limbo where he once again met Dumbledore, who explained the final steps. When Harry awoke, Voldemort was stunned, disbelieving. In that moment of vulnerability, Dumbledore acted. With a powerful, non-lethal spell, he disarmed Voldemort, sending the Elder Wand flying through the air. It was not Harry who caught it, but Dumbledore. The wand's true master, Voldemort, now mortal and wandless, was no longer a threat. The remaining Death Eaters were quickly subdued. Tom Riddle, a man stripped of his power and his immortality, was imprisoned in the deepest dungeons of the Ministry, a living testament to his own failure. The wizarding world, scarred but not broken, could finally begin to heal under the watchful eye of its greatest protector, Albus Dumbledore. The boy who lived had lived, not to die, but to triumph, guided by the hand of a headmaster who had survived to see the dawn of a new era.